Good evening.
Hey man, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
Good, good.
Excellent.
Was so unexpected. I was just trying to kill this Marlock, and I heard something like,
It's all right.
"Oh,
Take your time. I hear you clicking away.
yes." So is this your main?
That is correct.
Cool.
Been around since the day the server started.
That's awesome. You've been in the guild, Scarab, ever since, also, or
Yes, it was my first guild, and I'm a very loyal individual. They would have to do something very dumb.
of course, yeah. And what level is your character again? Is it? Are you level 60 yet?
No, I'm up to level 55.
Okay, and we'll have to run something sometimes. That'd be
I've
awesome.
never ran with anyone. In fact, I have never even been on the voice channel.
Oh no way. Well, it's
Of
my
course not.
well.
Everyone's so far ahead, so, wrapped up in their business.
Sure.
I would just be a distraction, an unneeded distraction. Instead, I'll just chime in and chat here and there.
I
I'm
see.
basically off in my own and enjoying the journey.
You can play this game however you want, and you're playing it the way you want it. So props to you, man.
But
Is
as far as leveling goes, I mean,
yeah.
I joined so early, didn't even have any.
Is
In
it?
fact, I
Oh,
turned down Oat the first two times he asked and waited a week because I wanted to see just what field was going to turn out.
sure.
But I gave him the benefit of the doubt because he was just about the only person who genuinely talked to me and didn't just send me some spam of, here's our guild, blah, 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 blah. This dumb shit, macro.
Sure.
He was just actually like, hey, we
Hmm.
could use somebody like, so I was like, yeah. I know, I guess. Twist old gravy's arm.
Now, uh, before the battle, the before the BGs, or actually, let's say after the BGs, is it still crazy out there? As a 55?
Nope. It is bliss. You never see a. I mean, I'll hear from a friend every once in a while. Hey, I just got ran over by a pair of 60s. Like, don't go there.
Sure.
But it's nothing like it used to be. I mean, between the world PvP and the BGs, there were some weekends you literally could not play the game. Just don't fucking bother unless it's 3 a.m.
Definitely. I agree.
So it made things miserable. And I'm glad that chapter in the history of the server is over.
Yes, and I didn't know that it was gonna affect every level because before BG started, I'm level 30. I was like level 29. I was here at Stranglethorn, and man, I got ganked so much by like level 50s or 60s, and sometimes I
That's
end up,
how it was back in October.
yes, they would just go everywhere and just kill stuff. It just doesn't even matter if they gain honor or not. But
That's because it was a competition then to prevent the other side from being as prepared to deal with world bosses.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I honestly
All
think that,
control.
yeah, and I honestly thought that we weren't gonna be affected as low levels, but man, I was wrong.
This guild's very surprising. They're decent in PvP. They're organized. They're elitist almost to a fault, but they do have higher standards than most of us. And for the most part, they stay together. They really don't answer casual questions or dumb questions. They won't even give you the time of day sometimes if you just ask something you simply looked up instead.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to helping people advance, they focus a lot on that aspect because they understand the fundamental that you are useful so long as you're maintained.
Mm-hmm.
People who aren't maintained, they can't be called upon and it's noted. I've seen these guys like 4:30 in the morning put out the word a raid boss is up. And suddenly on Discord, all these people that have idle settings or cell phone settings,
Jeez.
suddenly they're bam, they're online 5 minutes.
Hmm.
Like some could have been sleeping, some may have to work in an hour. They don't care. They get shit done. And I respect that. Not only do I respect that, but I'm proud to represent it.
Mm-hmm. And
Even if I'm
go ahead. Sorry.
incapable, honest, even if I'm incapable of directly participating due to my level,
Mm-hmm.
I do other things early on.
Mm-hmm.
I keep morale high in Discord. I keep morale high in
Mm-hmm.
chat. I go around to random pug groups and I'll run them through things for free
Sure.
just to give our guild a good reputation. I mean, they may remember the name Gravy first, but they also remember that scarab emerald beneath that.
Yeah, that's a good proposition for not even a proposition. It's a good tactic to kind of let them know how
I'll
it
tell
is
them I
in the
don't even
Skyrim.
want loot.
Hmm.
Say I'm just here. I'm just here for the fun of it.
It's pretty cool, man.
And their jaws will hit the floor.
Now, do you have like experience with being in an alliance as your characters, or being
Nope.
in an alliance? No,
Clients are nothing but speed bumps.
that's my first. When I was in vanilla, we had alliance because my cousin introduced me to this game, and when he bought it, he showed me. He's like, "Okay, I'll buy it," and I was like, I was looking through it. I fell in love with orc hunters. That's what I wanted to be. But no, he had a human rogue, so we had to be in alliance so we can play together. But I did not regret any single moment of it in my entire life because I think that playing alliance kind of taught me some advantage that I can't even explain. Like, so basically, I can think like them. Does that make any sense?
It makes a little sense if there were greater differences between sides. But really, there's just, besides shamans and paladins, no difference at all except for flight paths.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking how they think would be more to the psychology mentality of people who want to play pretty care. Therefore, they're not as quickly as motivated to fight. They stand around staring at each other. They care more about aesthetics, beauty than gear and victory, honor, and ugh,
Yeah. Speaking of honor,
it basically just is.
have you uh, done BGs at all ever since it came
Yes,
out?
we've only been out a week.
Yeah. Uh, what do you think about?
They are what they are. I've done Alterac Valley exclusively. Backed up. I think I was at 34,000 honor just before logging out.
Oh wow.
It's yeah, except people higher up, it'd be like 34,000 honor. I'm gonna lose a rank because of that.
Oh no. Yeah.
Like those, the real tryhards that are in it. No,
Sure.
I'm just there to reach that checkpoint where I can get my gear and get the F out.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I'll be back.
And
It's going to get to a point where I'm not going to be able to compete without raid gear
mm-hmm.
because they'll just absolutely stomp me.
Definitely.
And then I'll have to bite the bullet. Maybe.
As
Work
far
with other people.
yeah.
Ah.
As far as in Alterac Valley, the leveling is that fast there, or because a lot of people were saying you could pretty much
Yes
level
and
from
no. At level 55, you can turn in 3 tokens. Every 3 tokens is worth basically doing a full quest. 6,300 experience. So I turned in, I don't know, like 9 tokens or whatever. Got like 4 or 5 bars of experience. It was decent, but it also took like 3 or 3.5 hours sitting in queues to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it all evens out. I could have run like 2 dungeons in 3.5 hours.
Sure. And you get the mini quest that goes in Alterac Valley.
Mini quests are good. Repeatables, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So you do them once, get them out of the way, and after that, it's like, well, I guess I'm just here for honor points then.
So
And you're subject to the whim of the masses. If the masses don't want to do dick, you get a bunch of AFK players or whatever.
sure. So you get into a point where you get a bunch of XP, and after a time, that won't even you won't even get as much anymore, and you're just there for honor.
Exactly. I mean, that's what the level 60 people. You can work your way up to a mount. You can work your way up to a great trinket.
Sure.
There are achievable goals that make it worthwhile. It all depends on how much time you invest. Thing is that with classic WoW compared to vanilla WoW, things are moving at such an accelerated pace that people are already done with their reputation, already at revere. And that would have taken others months.
Yes.
So you got to wonder, what are they going to do to measure their EP after this? What's going to be the new ruler? Is it going to be Blackwing Lair in January? God, that's coming too fast as it is.
Yeah.
Or other BGs, Wrathy Basin, that would be a great one. But still, all this content's going to wrap up super quick. I think that's what Blizzard want, so they can shuffle us all over to retail when we get bored of having nothing to do with Classic.
I hope not. I hope that's what they're not trying to do. They might be going to some sort of Classic Plus after all the patches have been released, or maybe, just maybe, go into an expansion. The expansion, Burning Crusade.
Is when I started playing Orc. So I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't mind Burning Crusade?
Not at all. I had a lot of fun.
I see. It was alright. I tell you that. It's, for me,
I didn't raid so much because the raids were difficult. I mean, that was some pinnacle raiding shit. But
yeah.
the PvP and even world PvP, Zangar Marsh, Hellfire Basin stuff was really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember the druids, Night Elf druids they would get away really quickly. They would do their macro. You can make this macro where they can shadow meld and fly, and that's pretty insane.
Yeah, flying. I really wish flying was never introduced to the game. Though I have found it enjoyable in very limited instances.
Hmm.
It really narrowed the way developers could craft worlds because then they had to think, well, if people are going to be flying, they're going to fly over all the shit we made, and it's going to cut out all this content. It kind of cheapened WoW.
It did. It did. For me, I
It
never.
also destroyed world
Go ahead.
PvP.
Yes, it did. Especially with the low levels, when everybody's high level enough to roam around and
I mean, people would just gank and then fly off. There, yeah,
yeah,
no fucking point.
yeah. That I never really thought about it that way before because I was kind of immersed into the game and I never cared about like anything like patches or anything like that, which was kind of a bad idea because if you like something, you have to read something about it, even just a little bit. And I wasn't
Well,
that.
when it comes to world building, people's feet are on the ground. Developers design things with the notion they'll look up. But if people are in the sky, they have to design things with the notion to look down.
Hmm.
And looking up is just a lot more awe-inspiring, and you can hide a little bit more, create a little bit more. Looking down, just everything exposed. Any cut corners or dirtiness. And
Hmm.
I said, you could just skip over mobs. There's no point in engaging. It's just freedom of flight did feel good. Felt very good with the engine. It felt good within the game, but it just trivialized too
It
much.
it helped with farming.
Yeah, it did.
So it comes to that, the benefit of being in a PVE server would have been really awesome then.
In a way, but it also forced them to spread the nodes further apart, assuming that people would be flying to them rather than walking.
That's true. Now, um, are you opposed to having like some sort of classic plus at all? Meaning that let's say they put some elements from each expansion. Let's say they put Burning Crusade elements, a little bit of that into the classic, minus
As long as
flying.
it's not arena.
Are you don't like arena?
Nah, arena was stanky. I did arena season 1 and 2 back when it was not only broken, but when the WoW developer Tiggle and his warrior literally rigged it so that warriors would be the best at arena. It was a huge like huge controversy,
Sure, yeah,
drama, scam,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it just
It
when everything got micro distilled down to little 1 verse 1, 2 verse 2, 3 verse 3, it made balance a lot more difficult.
sure, yeah,
They
yeah.
had to they had to micromanage. Then okay, now we have to account for this class versus this class, this versus this. It's not just like, well, I mean, anywhere in the open world, it could be a druid, a hunter, a paladin, whatever. Like, then you say, fuck it, we won't really micromanage these classes because anybody could show up at any time.
Hmm.
Arena, it's like we get, it gets down to like a meta. And when people get the meta classes, then other classes get excluded. Like, oh,
Sure, yeah.
shit gets
I believe
dirty.
that. And on top of that, there's also changes when a class becomes meta. The next patch, they become like
Yep.
completely obsolete, and then
Well, that's from the children crying
mhm.
because, then Blizzard's like, oh, we paid all these artists and designers to develop these other classes, but they're being underutilized, finger quotes.
Hmm.
And when they're underutilized, it's like, oh, we'll just develop this new strategy called Flavor of the Month.
That makes a
And
lot of
they
sense. Yeah,
put them like on fucking rotation, like they're a meal at Denny's.
sure.
Like this month you're getting the omelet, next month you get the big breakfast.
Mhm.
Like, how about you just offer everything?
Would
But yeah,
that
that
will
Flavor
that
of the
fix
Month
it?
shit.
Like, will that fix it? Like, what would you like if you were like a Blizzard? What would you suggest and
To
say, even
to
for
fix
like
Arena,
to fix Arena? Yep.
I would take the gear out of it. It would only be for mounts and titles. The gear is
Interesting.
another reason it broke Arena because some of that shit was BIS, best in slot Arena gear. Like you could raid with Arena gear.
Yeah, I mean the gear, the mount. I could see that. I could see that working.
Mounts and
Yeah,
titles.
mounts and
It's
titles.
That's what it's supposed to. PvP is all about bragging rights. Always has been. I'll set up a ladder, put stats on the server that people can reference.
Well, in a did you like transmog at all?
Yes, transmog was decent.
Maybe they could do something like that. Transmogable. How do you say it?
Blizzard was
Transmogable.
forced into transmog because another game that came out in 2011 called Rift introduced so many quality of life benefits in their game while also trying to be a WoW clone at the same time that it forced Blizzard to adapt a lot of the quality of life things to Warcraft, such as group finders and transmog
Mm-hmm.
and others. They almost even went to housing. It got so tight. But Rift, unfortunately, was on a very flawed engine. It was on a version of the Gamebryo engine that could only display 50 people at once, and then it started fading them out like phasing does in WoW.
Sure. Yeah.
So you could only have 50 people on the screen at once. So that like screwed over any world bosses or things like
I
because
see.
you couldn't see half the people on your screen.
Yeah. This got yeah
The end
caused a lot of
game
problem.
was written pretty poorly. The story was kind of and then the studio was extremely mismanaged to the point it went bankrupt.
Mm-hmm. Transmog, I wouldn't have a problem with that either, because right now I look goofy like my character.
Well, here's the thing though, especially on PvP servers, you can size a person up based on what they're wearing. You see that weapon in their hand, you know, you're gonna know it's like Dalaran's. Okay, that's a fucking tank,
Mm-hmm.
not some Fury Ward. So when people have the ability to hide their gear behind whatever they want to look, it does meaningfully impact the game.
Okay, you made a really good point there. Yeah.
What I would
Sure.
suggest is that you can only use transmog within spaces that are considered rest areas, or you get restful sleep, a little
Mm-hmm.
ZZZ.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use it inside of inns, and you could use it inside of capital cities to prance around and role play to your heart's content.
Yeah.
You go out in the real world, though, you got to represent what you got, what you earn.
True that. That makes a lot of sense, especially if you're trying to fool somebody in the opposite faction. You can't be just roaming around looking like a really really hardcore player
Yeah,
with
it
all your
already
transmog fans.
exists.
Yeah. Sure.
Drink a Noggenfogger potion
Mm-hmm.
like a fucking skeleton. Nobody's going to see what you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's already there for the people who want to do that. Don't mess it up even more with trans.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you there. Like,
Not only like was transmog a product of taking a highly competitive game, other games quality of life and adding it to WoW.
Mm-hmm.
But WoW also was in a very transitional phase then where the artists and developers were a little bit more on the feminist Me Too side. So
Sure, yeah.
all the new gear looks like they're wearing trench coats and covered up in all sorts of crazy shit. They took fantasy out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters look like dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks cheesy. Classic, people wanted transmogs. They go back to the classic gear that had the bikini arm
Mm-hmm.
for obvious reasons. People who played those games, they wanted to look like $1,000,000. They were some badass and they wanted to look hot too. And Blizzard, their taint is still on that gear to this day where the females have the granny panties that like wrap around the thighs. It's messed up.
Sure.
Or if you go look at Daisy out in the Salt Flats in Thousand Needles, she was a reference to Daisy Dukes, and they made her short jean shorts like twice as long.
That's hilarious. I didn't know
Like
that.
it's like, come on, Blizzard. Like just let people have fun.
And that kind of reminds me that it just reminded me of this one NPC in Shatrath. You probably know where I'm going with this. And around
Harris
the net.
Dalton,
Yeah, yes, yes. You know exactly where
her
I was going with
gigantic sack.
that. Did they
Oh
change
yeah.
her? Did you change her too, or she's
No,
still
I
there?
think she's still there.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you get the achievement for the sack. Something about that. I don't know.
That's pretty awesome.
I do have a retail character that's older than dirt, and he's got all the achievements, but I don't play retail because it sucks.
Oh yeah.
I had quit WoW for 6 years straight.
Mm.
Came back for a little bit of Legion, and Legion was like fun to solo for like 6 months, but I couldn't do the I just didn't like the raiding aspect. I didn't like the encounters.
Sure.
So I was content to just solo and collect collectibles, and then I got bored. And I heard Battle for Azeroth was gonna really suck.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, well, I also heard Classic's coming. I'll just quit for another year or so until Classic arrives, and then I came back.
Sure.
To this day, I do not own Battle for Azeroth.
Also, in Legion, I have a level 60 that I kind of managed to farm, or to kind of just leveled and stayed 60 and locked my level. And it's not 60. What's the Legion? Is it 90?
I think Legion was
it's
100, 110.
110? Yeah, I think, yeah, it's
don't-
110, yeah.
I
So, anyway,
have not played it in so long.
sure. Anyways, so it's 110, and I locked my level down because I love Legion.
It was pretty, and it was fun, and it was easy, and it had like all the good, like it was really friendly towards the customer for once.
Mhm.
Like, you want to go here and do this, you can do this. You need these mats, you get these mats. Your quests,
And
all this shit.
yeah, and what do you say, the leveling? There's a word for it when you go into a certain area and then they match the level that you. They match the level.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but that was okay.
What is that called again? I forgot. There's like a shift, like a phase level or something like that. But there's a word for it. I can't remember right now. But I've been kind of taking advantage of that because I have like the best gear for 110 level. So I went over to battle BFA and started grinding mobs there as a level 110. Everybody's level 110 as far as NPC, and my damages are they're pretty strong.
I resubscribed about a month before Classic was supposed to start. So naturally, I logged into Legion
Mhm.
just to see how that was going. And with stat squish and the number crunch, it felt shit. Like I'd go kill a blue elite that always drops some blue goodie,
Hmm.
and you'd go kill him, and like it'd take forever. You used to be able to just squash him, and it was like fighting for your life. Like, holy shit, it's just a blue elite. This dude's 2 levels beneath me. What did they do, Blizzard? And the other crap, you know, the gear that was supposed to give you artifact power that just turned into straight cash.
Hmm.
Some other drops they watered down to, and they completely screwed over cooking to force you into BFA cooking. All the old recipes, they got stat squished to give you nothing, just absolute garbage.
I was just talking about the actual stats of the cooking.
Oh yeah, the stat, not leveling up cooking, but I mean, you make like fish gruel special that used to give you the hot pepper breath.
Okay.
You'd spit out like 3,000 damage in fireballs
Oh,
every couple
geez.
seconds, and now it was like down to like 1,400 or something, slashed in half. Come on,
Why did they do that? Like, I don't.
to force you into the new tier of cooking, so the old recipes wouldn't be as. It's
Hmm.
like you'd eat the old haste food that used to be worth like 300 haste, and it's worth like 20 haste now. It's like, god damn.
Wow.
Yeah,
Y-
cooking was my thing, and they screwed it completely.
Yeah, man, this has been an awesome conversation. It's I get a little nervous sometimes on this kind of stuff. Uh, I think part of it, that's why I wanted to
Well,
start.
you should be.
Yes. Part of that is part of this podcast thing that I wanted to do is to kind of help myself out to engage into conversations, and especially out there. And this is an awesome opportunity for me to kind of to show what I can actually talk about and what I can do as far as conversations. And English is my second language.
No shit.
Yeah, I try to explain to people what it's like. It's about kind of thinking about synonyms for what you want to say. Like right now, if you want to say a word, try the synonym of that. Think of the synonym of that and then say it.
And if you watch enough of the classic Star Trek, you could also perfect your impression of Captain James T. Kirk, USS Enterprise.
Are you a
No,
Star Trek fan?
it's no, it's that you have the Kirk pause where you're always searching. Your brain's like a calculator. You're searching for
Oh,
the proper thing to say.
sure, yeah.
And there's that pause there. It's almost like Morse code. You're
Hmm.
waiting for the next sequence of dots and dashes
Sure, yeah.
to string together uh, the syllables.
Hmm.
And it just reminded me of Captain James
Captain
T.
Kirk.
Kirk for some dumb.
It's crazy.
But that's probably just the IPA talking,
No, it's fine, man.
isn't
It's so
it?
good. It is.
Ah, be sure to stop by the old Scarab channel every once in a while and see Gravy's memes and shit posting. I keep that place looking spick and
That's another thing. It's as a being a bilingual or English as my second language, I cannot do
Spingerish.
impressions. I
What are you
can.
talking about? You got the best impression ever. Foreign guy in America.
That's. I don't know. It's
And
just
now
it's
I'd like
weird.
to impersonate a dreamer.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, you gotta work with what you got, son.
Sure. Yeah. Oh my god. I try to like do like dumb impressions once in a while, but it's it comes out
And
racist
nobody
other than.
impersonates dumb. It just comes natural.
Oh yeah. Oh man, this has been great, man. It's hopefully we can do this again. It's probably, what time is it there?
Will I get paid next time?
Will you get paid next time? Though,
That's a major factor.
yes, depending on, well, if I even make any money or gold. I mean, shit. I'm only
I
doing
want
this
no
for fun,
steak and
man.
gold. I want beer.
Beer?
Mail me some beer.
You've never had any Iowa beer, huh?
Um, no, closest I've had is Kansas.
Kansas beer. Okay. We're close there.
What is
Like
called
cup.
like Farmhouse 13 or something.
Okay. I
Maybe
really.
it was batch 13 Farmhouse. Now I gotta look. God damn it.
Do you like wine at all?
No, I got a
No.
friend who likes wine, so I just let him suggest whatever I should drink.
I got a
They
friend
get
at
fun drink.
Kansas. I got a friend at Kansas City. We went to this distillery. It's one of my favorite wine. It's called Loft Bread or something like that. Haven't had it in years.
Oh, my buddy's like he's a sommelier. He's super snobby. He'll only recommend like French shit to me.
Oh no. So, shall we call it for the night and get some?
Oh yeah, hold on a second. There it
Yeah.
is. Tank 7 Farmhouse Ale. That is really good shit. Guaranteed to
Farmhouse.
get you tanked.
Hmm. It
I
looks.
recommend that
It
one.
looks good.
Oh, it is very good. Beyond Boulevard. That's the company that makes it. Kansas City, St. Louis. Oh, so it's St. Louis. They tricked me,
Hmm.
bastards.
Yeah, I see that beer here in our stores.
Yeah, it's in like decent higher end stores, get Whole Foods,
Okay,
whatnot.
I'll give this a try. What's it? What does it? The taste is it?
Well, farmhouse ales, very cloudy, very. They'll produce like a big foamy head if you don't pour them properly.
Mm-hmm.
They're the fermentation level on them is high, so it's just like drinking a loaf of bread.
Sure.
Like, but they're not as malty as you expect. They're kind of lighter and citrusy, kind of like a cross between like a Belgian Abbey ale and an Oktoberfest malt.
Mm-hmm. I really like citrusy beer. Something about it.
Oh, well, Belgian whites are would be your bread and butter. Get your ass some Chivas.
Will do. And
Yeah, Delirium, white bottle, blue foil with a pink elephant. Expensive as fuck, but
what is it called?
Delirium.
Delirium.
The tastiest thing you'll ever have if you're into citrus.
All right. I'll.
You want something recommended locally? That would be by Bell's called Oberon. Heavily sold during the summer. The wit. Actually, I don't think it's a wit. I think it's just a wheat.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one that's very popular during the summer because it's cheaper and
Okay.
it's mighty tasty. A big sun on the front for
Okay.
Oberon.
I seen this before too. Like, all right.
Oh yeah, every bar they always have it on tap.
Yeah. Well, thanks for this, man. Because I've always had this one thing that whenever I go to a store, I gotta have my beer. But because I'm kind of scared of trying to taste, I'm kind of scared of buying like other ones that I want to try because I might not like them. It happened to me a couple of times, but I just needed somebody to point me in the right direction. It's just what you're doing, and appreciate it.
All right. Well, we'll play some cards against humanity and say shit that shouldn't be heard.
All right, that sounds good, man.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
It's like life and deviant delight has just reached its limits. Speed limit broadcast coming soon, bringing you inside deviant personalities. What makes them tick? PvP stories, raid drama, WoW history wrapped up and ready to roll. Obey the speed limit or else.